Welcome back to Starboy Scents. My name is Aaron, and today we're doing something a little different. We're not going to be smelling anything today, which I always smell stuff. I'm killing myself by how much I'm inhaling in this small room. But today we're going to cover something that, it's pretty easy to find. People have talked about it before, but I know when I first got into fragrances, that was very confusing to me. And when I talk about it with other people, it's hard to really understand when you're outside of it. So if you're just getting in, hopefully this is helpful. If anything I say in this video is incorrect, correct me down in the comment section below, because I'm doing this off the top of my head. I got no script. There's nothing. Behind you is a wall. It's like the camera's on my bed, and there's a wall behind, and that's where we're at. But we're going to cover the differences between when people say niche fragrances, designer fragrances, and like dupes or clones. Sometimes it's confusing when someone says like cologne, a cologne clone. They're too similar. That's why people started calling them dupes, I think. That's but dupes for like duplicate, whatever. But we'll start off with the niche section. So this is for my setup. I have a bunch of different rows. My top 2 rows are niche, and normally these are a little pricier. They're from brands that you have MFK, you have Byredo, that kind of thing, where normally they're higher oil concentrations, a little more complicated. They're less, like, normally have better, normally, I'm going to say normally because some brands are getting away from it now, but they normally have better like ingredients in their fragrances. So, like less synthetic things and real things that are harder to get, but they put it in so it smells more real. But it also means sometimes different batches smell differently because they can't, like, say a fragrance, especially like from a niche house that uses real ingredients, right? Say they're using a plant that they can only harvest once a year. That's going to drive the price up because it's something you can only get once a year. But it also means that one year to the next, the plant will be slightly different. Even if it's the same plant, if there's some sort of smell to it or, taste to it, it's never going to be the exact same. So you get slight differences and variations. Normally they stay pretty close, and if you like it, you're still going to like it the next time, but they'll get slight differences and variations because they're using normally more natural ingredients, more real ingredients, and higher quality ingredients. And they try to do higher oil concentrations a lot of the time, so the fragrances last longer. But yeah, so that would be, your brands, your, Creed, your Parfums de Marly, The Harmonist, Stefano Ricci, Terenzi, Mind Games. Imaginary Authors is kind of I think they are, but they're kind of up and coming. They're still, not too expensive compared to some of the other ones. So they might be more in the designer realm. I don't know. That one I'm not sure on. But yeah, that kind of thing. But and then the designer section. So designer would be, it was very confusing to me at first because a lot of the brands that are designer, they're cheaper fragrances, but they're more mass appealing, and it's from brands where like the clothing costs an arm and a leg to get most of the time. Like, you want to get something from Dolce & Gabbana clothing, it's fairly pricey, but you can get, one of these, the light blue, for, it's $100 something retail or $100 retail, but like you can get it for like $30 in some places. Maybe I'll make a video on where to buy from next. So if you want to see a video on like where you can get stuff for cheaper, and I can recommend some things that I think are really good places to get if you want to get discounts on it. I don't have any codes, so it'll just be me talking about my personal experience, what has worked for me and what I know is real. Because I know some things are scary out there. If you're like, how can I trust this? Well, I spent money on stuff, so I can I have trust in the things after I've spent money and gotten real results from it, I guess. But the designer ones are, yeah, Dolce & Gabbana, JPG, Jean Paul Gaultier, Bleu de Chanel, polo, you know what I mean? Those kind of things. That's where that would be. So like niche, you would get like $300 and above range. You know, sometimes 250, 200, like, and you can get like there. It's not fully always in there, but they use more. I will say with the designer brands, they're selling them at a cheaper price, but they're trying to sell more. So I think what they're doing is a lot of the designer brands, the things that they come out with, they sell a lot of because they're so mass appealing. And it's not bad. I like a lot of the designer ones because it's mass appealing. It's not like, you know, with a lot of the niche ones, they have these special things that people don't really smell that often, or like you're not used to people smelling, like where, you know, in the designer realm, you have your Acqua di Gios that like everyone loves, one of the best smelling fragrance lines of all time. It's like $100, maybe more now that you get to the elixirs and that kind of stuff. And they keep reiterating kind of the same formula that works, just making slight changes to try to make it better or more appealing for newer people so it doesn't smell like this dated thing. So that would be your niche or your designer category would be, you know, the $100 range from brands, you know, like I said, even Versace. But I will say there is a caveat with some of those brands, and I'll talk about it after we get through the clone dupe category. So the clone dupe category is, you know, brands like Lattafa. I'm trying to think of some of the other brands like Fragrance. Was this Fragrance World? I have a lot of these. You know, so like this is called Harmony Code Absolute. It's based on Armani Code Absolute, I think, or some, you know, one of those. And it was like 20 bucks, and it smells pretty close to it. Doesn't last as long. You know, doesn't last as long, doesn't whatever, but it's 20 bucks. So when I was first getting into it, I was like, oh, I'll get the cheap stuff. I don't need whatever. And it's not bad. I mean, it's really not, especially for the price. They don't use a lot of real ingredients, a lot of synthetic, but you can get them for really cheap. I mean, like, sometimes they do go a little overboard on how much they're copying fragrances, because they, you know, they say like this is a clone of this fragrance. Like, I'm gonna pull out a fragrance here, and you're gonna probably know immediately what it's a clone of. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. It's this one. Okay, sorry. Okay. Now this is Lattafa Bade Al Oud, Oud for Glory. Now this is a clone of Oud for Greatness. Now, when you look at these, I mean, they are different, right? But I mean, they, you know, this is the real one on this side, and then this is the fake one. But like, you can tell they tried to make it look almost exactly like it. And they do smell similar. They don't like it, I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh no, they don't smell the same. Sorry, I'm bending down here. They do smell similar, and I think there are some really good clone houses. But like even this, I'm gonna show one more just to show you like how crazy they get. The sizing isn't the same, but like, look at this. You have a Tom Ford fucking Fabulous, and then Fabulo Intense. I mean, it's not exact, but like they tried to make the bottle look, you can tell one's much bigger, but, and they smell fairly similar. Although I will say Fabulo Intense, oh, I don't really like that much, but fucking Fabulous I think is incredible. So sometimes they get it right on the head, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they make their own fragrances and they can be really good. So it really just depends on your budget and what you're looking for. And I don't think they're bad to go for. I know a lot of people have issue with them, or, you know, think that they're whatever, but honestly, they do smell good. They don't last as long, but they do smell good. And they do, so I'm bending down again. Oh, my knees are fucked. Okay. But they do smell good. And I think, honestly, you can't go wrong with it. I would recommend like trying some of the, like if you like the sound of something that's fragrance and you're getting the dupe of it, try to get a sample of the real thing and just compare it. See if you like that more. and then, you know, save up to have that one real thing that can last you a while. Not that the other ones can't. I mean, I'm going to have all my dupes and all these forever, I guess. And, you know, sometimes I think they're a little overpriced, but certain brands, we'll get into, there's certain brands that have like designer and niche. So, so Tom Ford, right? I have this Eau de Ombre leather. This is actually more of a designer style fragrance, more mass appealing, a little cheaper. And then the other Tom Fords are their like signature collection, which are the more expensive, you know, couple hundred more dollars more expensive, that are for, you know, that are their niche category. And like lesser known ones, like Versace has like this is like, they have Versace Eros, which is, you know, people love it, but they also have a whole collection of niche ones that are $300, $400 instead of like the 100, that are supposed to smell good too. But, you know, I like this one, but a lot of people don't know that. And same with Dolce & Gabbana. I think they have what's called like the Velvet Collection or something similar to that. That's like their nicer, fancier ones that are more expensive and supposed to be a little more out there. And I think they're getting more into that. So it's, you know, I think even when they started to release those more expensive ones, they were still kind of just like iterations of their designer version. So it's a little confusing, but yeah, it's more like price point and real ingredients and luxury. But I do think I'm disappointed in some niche brands on how can I say this? Like, when you get a designer scent, it comes in a cardboard box. If you get a dupe, some of the dupes actually come in some crazy boxes. I don't have any, but they come in some nice packaging. And most designer ones just come in like a cardboard box with the name of it comes out. The niche ones, some do that where you're coming in a cardboard box, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing. But in my opinion, like, I feel that, you know, this is just a me thing, but like the people that do the best with packaging is Xerjoff. Or at least I like how it comes. So you get a box, although this one I bought this extra because my fragrance didn't come with it, but a lot of fragrances come with this leather bound box that, you know, opens up. You get the thing, you know what I mean? It's a nice presentation where it makes it feel like you feel like you're not just buying a fragrance, you're buying a like experience almost, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but I think more brands should do that. If I made a fragrance brand and I was pricing things at $500 for, you know, $300 to $500, I would try to get, you know, something that's like makes you feel like, okay, this is a special thing. This isn't just like oh, I got this random thing in the mail, I'm gonna throw out the box. Like, I know some people don't want to have these boxes everywhere, and I get that, but like, I think it's really, to me, it makes it feel so much more premium. I know this became a different, but yeah, I guess this was partially a video on designer niche and clone houses and what it means. It's not necessarily just based on the price point, but that gives you a rough estimate of where you're at if you're looking at things, unless you get a really good deal on something. Because you can get designer things for really good deals, and you can get some niche things for some actually fairly good deals if you know the right places to go. But yeah, if you want to see a video on where to shop to get some good deals, let me know in the comment section down below, and I can do that. But hopefully this video was helpful if you're new into fragrance, or it was entertaining if you already knew all this stuff and you just wanted to see how I would explain it. But yeah, that's all I got today, and until next time, peace.